Welcome Lund loyalists to John Lund Unleashed. Those watching on YouTube, on the John Lund Unleashed and Bay Area Sports Collective channels. Viewers on X, Instagram, LinkedIn, and Facebook, and Lundos listening to the podcast on Apple and Spotify. John Lund Unleashed, brought to you by 𝐸𝐴𝐵 Sports Medicine. Got pain? Check out our revolutionary stem cell treatments. And guys, if low T is bringing you down, 𝐸𝐴𝐵 Sports Medicine can put you back in the game. Now all juiced up and ready to go, here's John.
What's happening? Give me a little feedback here. I was doing a show, and I thought that everything was good. And then I got people going, hey, man. Everyone was talking in the chat room with no... with nobody. Nobody was responding. I mean, so I think we were having problems, and we may still be having problems because I'm seeing here that I'm not seeing people. So we may have to cut this thing short as well. Hang on one second. Give me a little feedback. Are we hearing? Are we seeing? Let me see here. Let me hit this right here. All right. Let's see here. Anyone? Give me a little feedback here. See what we're doing as far as good morning. Let me see. What do we got? 9:54. Yeah, I was doing a show. I was here right at 9 o'clock, and I was doing. Okay, now we see me. It was so weird. I started looking, and I'm looking, and it's like, yeah, like the show hadn't even started yet. So I don't know exactly what was going on. And then I popped on the YouTube channel. So let me make sure that everything's going now. I'm assuming you did not hear anything that I did. I did like a half hour worth of the show and was looking at the numbers going, yeah, nothing's growing, nothing's going. What's going on here? And then let me just make sure that we are live and up and going here because, okay, let me hit the live thing. Let me just make sure that we're going here. Typical Monday kind of a thing. Like I did like a half hour and everyone's like, Lund's probably doing a whole show and we don't even know what's going on. So let me just see here. Heard nothing. We saw nothing. Okay. But we're good now, right? I mean, yeah, I did what I typically do, which is I just did like a half hour worth of stuff. So let me just make sure. Yeah, we saw nothing. Okay. Are we good now though? Now nothing. Hey, good morning. Okay. John's best. Yeah, it was absolutely the best show that I had ever done to my, absolutely. It was just the most amazing show ever. So we're good now. Just want to make sure we are good now. Cause I said good morning to everyone and everything like that. All right, let's just do this again. I did this for like a half an hour, but I can recreate it and it'll be even better. Had a practice. Okay. The show lives. Very good. Okay. Very nice to see. All right. Episode 160, better late than never. I was here at like 8:58 doing a show and I was like, yeah. So anyway, episode 160, 7 1-run games in a row for the Giants. 4th win 1-run game. 𝐃𝐨𝐧'𝐭 call, which is absolutely, I'm not going to say it's the best of his career because he's had so many, but I want to compare and contrast what 𝐃𝐾 did versus what the NBA Finals did. The pen, again, I'm going to show you some numbers going to blow your freaking mind. Paul Skeens, free Paul Skeens. Finals broadcast, NELLIE comes into town. For the first time in 7 years, he leaves Maui to go to Oklahoma City. The Turner Report, Miles Turner is what that is. Alexander and the 49ers, random caboose, the crying kid, all those kind of things. I'm not going to put that on the screen. I don't like that. I'm going to take that off. All right. Anyway, we've got a ton of stuff going here, and we want to make sure, although I don't know, is that the worst thing? Did you guys, you can't even probably see it because I'm just messing with something real quick. All right. Let's do that. Let's take that off the screen. All right. We got a ton to get to today. Good morning. Better late than never. I know that you got a lot of places to go, and we appreciate you hanging out. All we ask from you is to make sure that you give us a subscription. Please subscribe to the channel. Give us a like before you get out of here as well. That tells the algorithm that we're not half bad. And please make sure you have those alerts on because we will put a ton of stuff out today, as we always do. It's not just the show. We always do all sorts of things. So again, sorry we had a mix-up there, but we are back. Thanks for joining us. John Lund Unleashed on a Monday. Also the Bay Area Sports Collective, which is my show. Polymac show, which is Polymac's Particles, which will start at 11 a.m. So I'll make sure that I'm out of here before 11 a.m. so that we don't have a conflict with Polymac at 11 and Polymac's Particles with Creative Tony. That's Tom Tolbert. That's Jeremy Effel. And, of course, the great Amy G as well. So the Bay Area Sports Collective. Thanks for watching on X today. Please migrate over if you get a chance to YouTube and John Lund Unleashed. But I'm always on X at John Lund Radio. You can catch me there. If you got comments, questions, thoughts, just put it underneath the show here. And we can do it whether it's live or if you're watching the show a little bit later. All right. Good morning. John Joseph is here. Kenny is here today. Enrique. Jason is here today. Good morning, Lost Crew 1. Hello, hello, hello. Dom. Hello, Dom. What's happening, man? Catalina's here. Mary. It is always great to see Mary in the house. Lost Crew. Did I say Lost Crew? I did. John Harder is here this morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning to you, my friend. Jake. Who else do we have here today? Man, lots of people. Sorry to keep you waiting. I was doing a show, just yapping away. And then I was like, no one's here. What's going on? So anyway, 2 Lund shows in one morning. I don't even know where I left off. So I'm just going to start from the beginning. So if you heard me already, hello, Sam. It's great to see you. We're going to start from the beginning for episode 160. All right, 1-run games. You know these things are going to impress you with a couple of things here as far as the 1-run is concerned. So there you go. That's what the Giants have been doing since June 2nd during this 7 games in a row. Lost the first 2 of the Padres series, won the last 2. Then they just swept the Braves, which I'll get into in a minute. But 1-zip, 3-2, 6-5, 3-2, 5-4, 3-2, 4-3. You can read. But I'm just doing it just because. But there you go. Are we having problems again now? It says 2 Lunds, 1 stream. What are we doing here? Hang on 1 second. Am I screwed up here? Hang on 1 second. Are we having problems again now? Look at me. Now I'm doubling up. Anyway, let me take this off the screen and make sure that we're good. But do we have a problem on the screen now too? Am I having more issues with this whole thing? Let me take this off the screen real quick. Remove. What do we have? You're all good. It was okay. Just checking because I don't know what's going on today. I am watching on YouTube. It looks like we're fine. Okay, I have no idea. But anyway, as far as the 1-run is concerned, that is a good thing. I want to show you some numbers here. So there's the 1-run stuff. But look at this. I'm going to show you a couple of things here. Giants numbers. So this is off their game notes. This is yesterday. All right. So you go from 21-11 at home. Now you're 22-11. They're going to Colorado, and Colorado stinks. So 16-17 on the road, got to be better. But look at these 1-run games now. They've had 7 in a row. So 15-12, now 16-12 in 1-run games. I'm in the middle column there. Last at bat wins, which of course yesterday was 13-4. Walk-off wins, 8, now 9-4-2 against. This is huge. But then we're going to get into the relief pitching in a second. And ESPN is doing their all-star, pulling out their all-stars already, even though it's about a month early. But look at how good the bullpen is. Lead after 6, 25-3. Lead after 7, 26-3. Lead after 8, 28-2. And even though sometimes 𝐃𝐨𝐬 makes you drop Alka-Seltzer in your whiskey, he does get it done. And then, as I'm always telling you, the 3 or fewer, 4 or more, this is the key to everything. Now, they did win a 3-2 game yesterday thanks to Matt Chapman. They're 13-20 now, but 25-8. That is the key number for the Giants, getting 4 score and blah, 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 blah. So 4 runs is the key for the Giants, but I thought I would just impress you with some of those numbers. And then just to kind of go over to pitching real quick here, to get you with pitching right here, this is, again, off their game notes. Look how consistent. Now, the last 2 months, starting pitching is on the top there, 2.77 ERA, but they went 9-11. They're 2.61 now in June, and that it was improved yesterday because they only gave up 2. But look at the bullpen, 2.52 the first month, 2.43, and now they were rocking a 1.82 ERA for the month. So keep this in mind as I show you this, all right? So the top, I'm just going ERA, okay? We're going a little bit of old school here with, there's all these analytics on this page that you can see. This is through, I don't know what website this is, I forgot. But Randy Rodriguez has the best ERA in all of baseball among relief pitchers. So you can see like Ks per 9, 13.19, which is outrageous. Base on balls per 9, 0.92. You look at all these other numbers. Look at the other numbers of these guys. Randy Rodriguez has been amazing. Then you get to ERA 0.61. And then you go to 12, Tyler Rogers. It almost seems high at 1.48. You go 𝐃𝐨𝐬, Duvall, 1.50. They have 3 pitchers in the top 15 in ERA. And then you can look at the other numbers as well. Strikeouts per 9 innings, those kind of things. You're in the double digits as far as that goes. But, Rodriguez is sick. But it just shows you how great these 3 have been. And then that doesn't even put Eric Miller in there. Eric Miller has a sub-2 ERA. You just don't see that from your relief pitchers, which is why I'm always like, let's get some runs. Old Harry Carey thing. Let's get some runs. So you wake up this morning, and here's the bottom line to all of what I'm saying, whether it's pitching, whether it's whatever. is the Giants find themselves, despite my mostly bitching and moaning, especially on Friday when they had 2 players picked off during bottom of the pint, which was a smashing success, by the way, Friday night with Krug and the Krug show. On Friday night, we do the bottom of the pint. Drink beers, hang out, watch the Giants. So they're all of a sudden, they're 1 game behind the Dodgers. I look in the loss column. You can't reverse losses. You can get more wins. So I look in the loss column for everything. So it's 27 for those 2 teams, 28 for the Giants. And I don't even think they've reached their crescendo point. I mean, their pitching has been absolutely phenomenal. We know that. In fact, ESPN did their mock All-Stars. Robbie Ray All-Star, Logan Webb All-Star, Randy Rodriguez All-Star. They got 3 Giants pitchers on there. And really, you could make a case for Rogers, not too difficult of a case. You could make not too difficult of a case of Duvall. You could put them in there. They could have 5 pitchers in the All-Star game, which lets you just scream at the bats and go, please just get us those runs. And if I pop back up the 1 runs here, and then the 1-run games, it's not like they're scoring 10. Now, they did get a 6-5 in there. They did get a 5-4 in there, but look at 3-2, 4-3, 3-2, 1-zip. They still need some sticks in there. I mean, that's what it comes down to. The bottom line is they need some sticks. Now, let me show you the standings real quick because this is going to be fun. Because I'm starting to look at this thing going, okay, who's real and who's not, right? Who's real and who's not as far as this goes. So I have given the Dodgers the division, but not so fast, my friend, as Lee Corso might say. Just 5-5 in their last 10. They've got a lot of injuries as far as their pitching is concerned. And here are the Giants. And we're getting to that point of the season where, I mean, we're almost halfway through the season. We're, just a handful of games. And the halfway point, obviously, you can hang. If you can hang, you can hang. You're 1 game back of the Dodgers. Now, look, I expect them to go on a spurt. They're going to get healthier. I still think the Dodgers are going to win the division. But now let's start looking at this part, right? So, again, 27, 28, 28. It's jammed. I think the Cardinals are legit with the 36 and 29. I think the Cardinals are legit. This is where I start getting squirrely. The Brewers just went on a big winning streak. I don't know the legit. Cincinnati, I don't think is. Diamondbacks, I cannot, and you know this, I'm not telling anything you don't know. To lose Corbin Burns, and they have, if you missed it over the weekend, it's going to be Tommy John. We saw late last week or middle of last week where he had that elbow and he said, basically, it's gone. And then they put him on the IL and they didn't get out the information. Well, over the weekend, it came out that Corbin Burns needs Tommy John surgery, and they're 31 and 34. The Diamondbacks, I'm not going to count them out because they went to the World Series a couple of years ago with 84 wins. So I'm not, and Corbin Carroll is playing well. They've got players on that team. But if you equate what he was, Corbin Burns, to what the Giants, what's the equivalent of losing that person for the Giants? It's clearly Logan Webb. He's an innings eater. He's a horse. He's the leader of that rotation. He hasn't been around as long, obviously. This is his first year. But Corbin Burns is that kind of a guy. And when that kind of a guy goes down, it's going to affect your team. And Arizona's a team that they don't have the resources. They're not the Yankees. They're not the Dodgers. I'm telling you things you know. They're not going to go out and be able to replace a Corbin Burns. They gave him, $245 million or something? I mean, they gave him, or maybe 215, 219, whatever the heck it was. Suffice to say that they gave him a shitload of money. And they're not the type of market that can just go out there and it's like, okay, we're going to place Corbin Burns right now. I don't know what their organizational depth is, but that's a major blow for them. So I'm going to hesitate to take Arizona out of the equation because they're still that good, but they're teetering, right? And they're sub 500 as it is. So from here down, and I'm going to bring Atlanta up in here too, I don't think any of these teams are in it. I thought Atlanta would make a run before this series. They're sloppy. They're not good. And I look at this team and I say to myself, how can a team with Matt Olson, Ozzie Albies, Ronald Acuna's back, Trevor Riley at third base, Sean Murphy, they're just too good. They have so much talent, but I just watched them and things can change. They're at 37, so they're 9 back. We got more than half the season to go. I still expect them to make a run. So if there's a team in that group that could probably still make a run, even though what we just saw from Atlanta is not very good and they're not playing good baseball at all, but they just have so much talent that I can't exactly throw them out. But I think if you go down here to the bottom, I think, and these teams from Washington on down are definitely out. Arizona's teetering. I don't trust the Reds. Milwaukee just went on a long run. My point is that I think it's going to be really 4 teams and maybe Atlanta for 5 spots. And so if I'm Buster Posey right now and I have the pitching that I have, and look at this. This is a major number to me. Plus 45, which is the best among the teams of the wild card. The Cubs just score boatloads of runs. I mean, look at that, plus 105. Detroit took 2 of 3 of them from the weekend, but the Giants are legit, and they've just got to get the sticks going. So I feel good as I start looking at the wild card, and it's normally mucked up. I think from here on down, with maybe the exception of Atlanta, those teams aren't wild card contenders. So that's great news for the Giants in my estimation, which to me, if I'm Buster Posey, I go to my management and I start now begging for the money. First base, right field, second base. Like, this pitching is so good. I have all these relievers that could be all-stars. And somebody just pointed out Eric Miller. Eric Miller could be an all-star. I mean, he's that good. You just don't have 4 and 5 relievers that are all-star caliber. And keep in mind, too, that if they don't trade Kyle Harrison, which I think Harrison might be kind of like Kuminga is for the Warriors, like, it might be time to trade him, and you might be able to get a really good stick for him before maybe people determine that he's just a relief pitcher. So I think Harrison could get you something good and maybe something else. I think it might be that kind of a thing. And it's not just first base anymore. You know, I know that Mike Yastrzemski had a good game yesterday. That's fine. We know he's a roller coaster. If he has a good game, that doesn't mean you're not going to make him a 4th outfielder, which I think would be his best role. So anyway, as you look at the standings, that's my whole point here is given their pitching, given their numbers, given what they're doing, given a look at this, like all of a sudden you're like, wow, what? They're that close. So I'm not going to give the division to the Dodgers so much that fast, but they still are playing for a wild card. But I don't see the depth that we've seen in past years in the National League. I see the teams we just saw. The Phillies, that's a playoff team. The Padres, that's a playoff team. The Giants are a playoff team. The Cardinals, you got to give them they're right now they're a playoff type team. And then when we go from there, there's a lot of flaws from there. Will there be a team of that group that I just counted out that will make a run? Yeah. Cincinnati could, Milwaukee could, Atlanta could. Outside of that, I don't see it. So anyway, that's what's going on as far as the standings after the weekend where the Giants sweep the Bravos. I'm going to play this Kipe call for you is where we are. Episode 160, 1 run, Kipe's call, pen again, some numbers. I kind of jumped around on that whole thing. I put Kipe's call 3rd. I want to put Kipe's call here because then I'm going to get into Skeens and then the finals broadcast. And keep in mind as I'm playing this, that this is the way it's done. Okay? This is the way that it's done. That the way, and I know you know this, but sometimes shutting up is the best way to do it as a broadcaster. And people don't think there's a skill to that. Like, stay out of the way. You would think it was obvious, right? Stay out of the way. This is an amazing moment. Radio's different because obviously you can't see the pictures. But this is one of the best home run calls. I don't care if it's a World Series, playoffs. I don't care if it's the 50s, 60s, 70s now. This is one of the best calls of all time, and I'll explain it. I watched this about 900 times. Kipe says 10 words here, 10 to describe this, and then he and Kruk stay out of the way. Amazing call on the walk-off yesterday for Matt Chapman. It's so good. And Kruko doesn't even talk. He knows. Like he analyzes things. Blah, 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 blah. He's the analyst. And he's just like, all right, let's just wait. And then he can talk when they do the replay 9 times and analyze exactly where the pitch was and what happened and everything. But he knows in that moment, like, I just shut the hell up. And Kruk is just like, long drive, left field, game over. I mean, he stays out of the way. And there's such an art to this when you broadcast. There's such an art to it. And he's so good at it. Now, he's been doing it forever, and I understand those kind of things. But I want to point this out because, A, he's unbelievable at it. And I don't care if this was the Braves broadcast or they were playing the Reds or the Yankees or whatever. Michael K, whatever. See ya. Everybody's got a different call. I would do the same thing and just say, this is the gold standard. It's incredible. And it's not easy because remember, he's sitting there, he's calling a game. And I think the hardest thing to do in broadcasting is to be authentic and great like that in the moment. Cause that just happened and he nailed it in the moment and you don't get it back. And they're going to play that all over the place. And especially, you get into World Series and things like that, the amount of pressure that's on a call like that, but he's so good and so concise and then stays out of the way. It's just an awesome call. So let me compare and contrast that. So I'm going to go back to Paul Skeens because I want to play this right away. So this is still fresh in your mind. Okay. So then yesterday is speaking of NBA, speaking of finals. All right. It's the NBA finals. And I'm sorry, man. But the reason why TNT is coming over is because I don't know how long it's been, 20 years. How many iterations has there been of ESPN trying to do a competent pre-half post? And they've always had a good broadcast. Mike Breen, Jeff Van Gundy, Mark Jackson. Now it's atrocious with Mike Breen, who's still very good, but Doris Burke and Richard Jefferson just don't work. And ESPN should be ashamed of themselves that they are putting out for this big of an event this kind of broadcast team. First of all, the broadcast itself, but then the pre-half and post is just completely unacceptable. With Screaming A. Smith, who should be relegated to the daytime and not this close, not finals adjacent. And same thing with Marble's Mouth, Kendrick Perkins. He should not be finals adjacent or in. There's just no way. These guys are not professional broadcasters at that level. And Bob Myers, who's been doing it a very short time, is great at what he does, but he can't get into word edgewise. And I'm telling you, as a 30-year professional in doing this, because you yell louder, because you interrupt, which is what happens during the day, and that's fine and acceptable. But when you're doing a finals halftime and a guy like Bob Myers can analyze it the way that he can, then what Bob has to do is he has to speed up and he has to try to talk louder because Perkins and they got like 3 guys speaking. So think of what 𝐬𝐽 just did and Kruk staying out of the way. 𝐬𝐽 makes this great call. Professional broadcasters know what it's doing. And this isn't the finals, but this is the finals. This is halftime of the finals.
I mean, you need more from Halliburton. I'm very careful of my Halliburton criticism because for the ones that have done it, he doesn't make them look very good. He doesn't. I know, but I live in the world, Perk. I can see what people say. Halliburton has answered the bell. That's what I'm saying. But he's not having a good half. He's not having.
You get 3 guys speaking. That was just a small snippet from it. It's just the whole halftime show. And Malika Andrews is really good, but there's nothing she could do. I'm sure there's a producer screaming in their ear, one at a time, one at a time, one at a time, because that's what they do. And they can't help it. And so Bob is trying to make a point, a salient point, a smart point, a guy who's been their point. And then he gets interrupted and he loses his train of thought. So he thinks he has to talk faster because he knows he's going to get interrupted at any one second. And it is the polar opposite of 2 professional broadcasters knowing exactly what they're trying to do and what the viewer or listener, depending on the stage or the entity that you're watching on. And then you got these guys, and it's supposed to be at the highest level. It's the NBA finals. And you have people screaming over each other like it's the daytime. And I can't believe Bob Myers has lasted this long. I can't. Because he's really good at what he does. I'm sure they pay him a ton of money, but here's a guy who goes around and speaks. This is a guy that has been involved with the Washington Commanders and how you build winning cultures and things like that. He doesn't need this. He's got plenty of money. I'm sure he's going to end up being, front office somewhere, somehow. I don't know. There's been lots of discussions, whether it's with the Clippers or the Suns or, a number of different teams, or maybe he just likes doing this. I don't know. But I know, having done this a long time, you could just hear his frustration in his voice that he can't get out 2 words. And this is the NBA Finals. It's the NBA Finals. And you got guys screaming back and forth. And it's like, look, there's plenty of time here, guys. This guy's speaking, then you can speak. And it's supposed to be a professional broadcast at the highest level. It's ESPN. They've been in business since, 79? And this is the best they could come up with. And there's been so many different versions of this thing. And finally, they're like, let's just take inside the NBA, which I hate to keep sounding like a parrot here, but I think they're going to screw it up because people don't realize that behind the scenes, there are people who understand what the show's about and they roll with it and they flow with it and they know how to make it even better. And then there's other producers like this who are probably screaming in the ear of all of these guys to shut the hell up, but nobody hears anything because they're yelling over each other. And as I'm watching that, I'm just thinking, it's got to be better than this, man. It's got to be better than this, especially for an NBA Finals. Like, this is not acceptable. So anyway, you go from Kruk and 𝐬𝐽 with this amazing call in which they're so egoless. Let me make the exact precise call, and then let me just shut the hell up and let the pictures do the talking for me. Let the video do the talking. Look at the celebration. Let me, everybody's soaking that in. And I think I saw somebody say chills. That's what it is. I don't care if it's a what's today, June 9th? And so yesterday's June 8th. Look how good I am. So it's June 8th. I don't know if the game's going to mean anything in the big scheme of things, but it's a professional call and you get to tune in. And when people say, well, God, John Miller's so good and Kruk's so good and 𝐬𝐽's so good and Flem's so good, that's why. Because those guys nail it. I mean, they nail it. And whether it's June 9th or the World Series, they nail it. And then you have an entity like this that decides that they're going to combine daytime screaming with the NBA Finals. And it's brutal. It is absolutely brutal and unacceptable. And that's just to me. Now, having said all that, maybe you don't care. I mean, seriously, maybe you don't care. Maybe you think that, like, it's who cares? I just turned down my TV. I mean, a lot of times, I got to be honest with you. What I do is, like, it'll be halftime, and I can't get to the button fast enough to freeze the screen. So then I go, like, get a sandwich, get a beer, mow the lawn, make sure that the halftime is over, and I fast forward it. But I went back because everybody, I'd gotten hit up at John Lund Radio. And people were like, did you see that halftime show? And I'm like, what are you talking about? So anyway, Kenny says the Giants have the best broadcast crew in the Bay Area. A little smarter listening to everybody in the Giants broadcast. Unfortunate. They're just great. I mean, I got to be honest with you. The broadcasters we have in the Bay Area, and I want to include a guy like 𝐾𝐿 from the A's because he did it for so long, and Ken is awesome. So guys like 𝐾𝐿 and Papa with the Niners and Kruk and 𝐬𝐽 with the Giants and John Miller, who's astounding, and Dave Fleming, and just the quality of broadcaster for the broadcast. The Sharks broadcasters are awesome. Like, they're just really good, and we get spoiled by it because you don't always see that. And look, I like a lot of the national broadcasters. I don't know if everybody else does. I think that by and large, they do a really nice job. And again, maybe I just concentrate on this far too much, but that was just an amazing call. And so I had to go back to that for a real quick second. All right. Yeah, I would agree with you 100%. My family's from Chicago. There's a guy named Pat Hughes who does. I mean, look, everybody loves their broadcasters. I do know that everybody loves their broadcasters, but the Giants are really good. And that 𝐬𝐽 call was out of this world. A couple more things. I told you I was going to get to Paul Skeens in a second. Let me get to this real quick. I forgot about this because I'm doing the show for a second time today. Don't ask me why. So that is, that's small writing. That is Bryce Eldridge. So Bryce Eldridge, I showed you his first hit. It was a ringing single to right. I showed you the grand slam in his second game. But now he's 3 for 17. He's 3 for 17 with Sacramento. So this grand plan of let's see what Dom Smith is. If he's no good by July 4th, hopefully Eldridge is ready to go. I'm not saying one way or the other. When he hit a single, I wasn't saying he should be up here. I had tongue-in-cheek, I was. When he hit a grand slam, I wasn't saying he should be up here. Tongue-in-cheek, I was. But I wasn't saying it for real. And then now he's 3 for 17, so we'll see. And he struggles defensively. So if the plan was, at least as we sit here on June 9th at 10:21 in the morning, if the plan was Dom Smith, and if he doesn't work, Bryce Eldridge maybe by July 1st, that probably is not going to be the case, but we'll see. He's playing first. A lot of people have hit me up with Luciano. They played Luciano for a couple of games at first base. Now he's back in left field with Eldridge being at first. I don't see him being an option. He's been good, not great with the bat. I think he's got 9 or 10 home runs. We'll see. We'll see what happens there. But I want to be safe. I want to be safe on both sides, which is when he first came up, I'm like, whoa, let's keep an eye on this. And now he's 3 for 17, and I've shown you 2 of the hits. So that's what's going on as far as he is concerned. I told you I'd get to Paul Skeens. Here's the deal on Skeens before I get out to some things for people to talk about. So I know you don't care about the Pirates. No one does. But this is getting to be ridiculous. So 7 2/3 yesterday, 2 hits, 7 strikeouts, no decision. His ERA is 1.88 on the year. He's going to start the All-Star game for the National League. This is the part that's like, what? He has 1 win, 1 in his last 7 starts, despite a 1.12 ERA over those 7 starts. 1.88 ERA in the year. Hold on a second. My wife's opening the door, and it must be significant. Yes? No. Okay, it wasn't. His ERA is 1.88 on the year. He has 1 win in his last 7 starts, and as you can read there, has a 1.12 ERA over those 7 starts. 7 starts, 1 win, 1.12 ERA over those starts. Maybe you don't care about the Pittsburgh Pirates. I don't. The only tie I have there is my son was born, and then we got out of there as fast as possible. But here's what crossed my mind when I saw those numbers. Mike Trout. The pitching version of Mike Trout. It's so sad at this point. I think Trout's, 33? So Mike Trout's 33. He's been in 1 playoff series in his life. And he's going to go down as one of the better players. Unfortunately, the injuries are going to be the thing that people remember as far as Mike Trout is concerned, because he could have been much greater, but then all the injuries happened. It's his own fault that he didn't want to get out of or away from the Angels. We've seen Ohtani and what he's done with the Dodgers, and it's just elevated him that much more. And I don't know if in the back of his mind, Trout thinks to himself, yeah, you know what, I should have left. I mean, he's from Philly. Could he have gone to the Phillies maybe? There was some discussion back in 2016. Remember the Cubs had, like, at the height of their career, like Chris Bryant, Anthony Rizzo, Javi Lopez, Kyle Schwarber. There was some discussion that maybe he would be part of that group and they would trade him, something like that. But Mike Trout has been in one playoff series, and we haven't seen him at his greatness. Now we've seen him in, a Tuesday against Milwaukee. Who cares? As we've seen, Tyrese Halliburton in game one, those kind of things. We're seeing it from Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Hey, that's great that you're the MVP. Go win a championship and be the MVP of that. That's what people really care about. And we'll never, ever get to see Mike Trout do that, because I don't think the Angels are ever going to trade him. And even if they do, he's a much lesser version of himself at the age of 33 or 34. And maybe he'll get traded to the Yankees or the Dodgers or the Phillies or something late in his career. Maybe not to the point of like Willie Mays going to the Mets, but we're not going to see him in the prime of his career play at his highest strength. In fact, the biggest moment of Mike Trout's career might have been at Major League Baseball, might have been in the World Baseball Classic where Shohei Ohtani struck him out. I mean, I don't know. That probably is the biggest moment of his career. So we haven't seen him on that stage. And to me, it will be a waste of Paul Skeens' powers. And he's the best pitcher maybe in the game. I mean, there's, Tarik Skubal is really good in Detroit. I mean, there's a couple of really nice pitchers in the league. So maybe I'm maybe I'm going to that too fast. But I don't want Paul Skeens to be Mike Trout, I guess. And I'm being selfish in this way. I want to see him on the biggest stage. And you know what? He's probably not signing in Pittsburgh. So what it means is Dodgers, Yankees, somebody like that. So that's unfortunate. But you may disagree with me on this, but I'd rather see him on a big stage, even if it were with the Dodgers, whom you hate, and I get it, than I would see him become the pitching version of Mike Trout, because I want to see him in big moments. The guy's got tons of talent. I don't want him to toil away in Pittsburgh. I think it's ridiculous. And I know that baseball can't really legally do anything about it, but I know that sports are on the up and up, and Paul Skeens will probably be on another team soon enough. I mean, I think it was Jim Bowden the other day who already wrote a piece that said, here are the teams that could use Paul Skeens, and these are the packages that could actually get him. And then somebody put odds out on it. And of course, everybody has to do that because that's like, crack and porn at the same time. All these odds. Who's the favorite for this player to go to his next team? And it's like, oh God, do we have to really go through this? So anyway, I'm just saying, I watch a 1.12 ERA over his last 7 starts and he has 1 win. What? He cannot be the pitching version of Mike Trout. I will not allow it. I will not have it. I have no power whatsoever. Just saying. I saw that yesterday. I thought he's going to be Trout. It's going to be like Trout. That's what it's going to be like. All right. Episode 160, 1-run games. 𝐾𝐨𝐧'𝐭 call. Penn again. Showed you some of those numbers. Some numbers I showed you. Skeens I talked about. Finals broadcast I did. We're going to get to Nellie in a second. We got a Turner report. We got an Alex. Everybody's hit me up on this Jair Alexander thing. Random things. And I got a really good caboose pistol for you before we get out of here before 11 o'clock, because then Polly Mac comes in with Polymac's Particles with our good friend Creative Tony. So we don't want to step on top of that. Let's see. What else do we got? Yeah, very torturous this year. And by the way, if you'd like to get your things up, questions, comments, thoughts on the board at any time, please make sure that you hit me up with a super. That would be great. Let's see here. Yeah, they have. I mean, that's a great point by you, Francis. Honestly, they've done, say what you want about the Giants for the last 50 years. They've been incredible. Antonio, it's nice to see you, my friend. What's up, man? Good to see you. And again, I apologize for being late today. I was here at 8:58. I was doing a show. Didn't even realize. Ooh, that's another call. That's a great call. Or Ernie Banks, too. That's a great call, Kenny. Trout, Billy Williams, Ernie Banks, one of those guys. So it's like, you just want to see him play. And today's different. Like you're talking about Billy Williams, or I just mentioned Ernie Banks, 2 Cubs that were absolutely phenomenal players. Never saw the playoffs because the Cubs are so bad. I mean, we didn't get free agency, Kurt Flood, the whole thing. That's early 70s. So, if a player generally, and this, again, a lot of this is on Mike Trout, he wanted to stay in L.A. He likes being on the Angels, apparently. He likes being in the second largest market in the country, but being kind of anonymous. I've said this before on the show, like go to Dick's Sporting Goods and try to find some Angels stuff. You'll see Rams stuff. You'll see Dodgers stuff. You'll see Lakers stuff. And then in the corner, you'll see like 8 Mike Trout jerseys. And they're all like triple XLs because everybody has bought the other ones. the regular size ones, but they're not going to restock it. What for? So anyway, there's that. No, I mean, it's 100% true. He said, I forgot all about Trout whenever he got his money. He should have left. He should have been, if part of this is on him, there's no doubt, because I want to see him on a playoff stage, but it's too late. Okay, go to the Phillies. You're a Philly guy. You're a big Eagles fan. I get it. Go ahead. Go there and, be Willie Mays. I mean, again, he's not going to be 40-something years old, and I'm sure that when he does go somewhere else, and I think he will, that maybe he goes to a winning organization. Maybe it's the Yankees. Maybe it's the Phillies. Maybe it's the whatever. He's going to go because at that point he wants to win, but he's not 27 or 28 anymore. He's injured constantly. I don't know. The Angels have waited too long. They could have gotten amazing packages for Mike Trout. Not anymore. Now it's just like, well, do you want us to take the remainder of that contract and we'll give you a couple of, prospects, but we're not giving you what you could have gotten. There's no chance. All right. Finals broadcast I did. Nellie, the reason I wanted to bring up Nellie today was that he won the Chuck Daly Lifetime Achievement Award. And Nellie looks good, man. I mean, look at him. Maui life is treating him well. As Anthony Slater says here, he wins the Chuck Daly Lifetime Achievement Award. First time he's left Maui in 7 years. I just want you to soak in a little Nellie there. I mean, again, big guy, drank a lot, beers, scotch. The Maui life is treating him well. I mean, he looks great. He looks absolutely great. But can you imagine? So the NBA calls you up. You're Don Nelson. NBA calls you up. Got great news. Oh, yeah, what's that? You're going to win the Chuck Daly Lifetime Achievement Award. Oh, my God, that's incredible. Thank you very much. I really appreciate that. You got to come to Oklahoma City. Oh, excuse me? Yeah, you got to come to Oklahoma City. I'm going to go to the mainland for the first time in 7 years. Can I go to the Bay Area? Nah, Oklahoma City's in the finals. Who are they playing? Indiana. Oh, God. So do you want to go to Oklahoma City or do you want to go to Indianapolis? Neither. I want to go to like the Bay Area or maybe LA and we could hang out on Manhattan Beach or something. Like what? I mean, really? That's where I got to go? Yeah, that's where you got to go. So he got through it. But can you imagine, it's 5 hours to the mainland, like to San Francisco or something. Then you got to go another 2 or 3 to Oklahoma City. So you're going 8 hours to get this award. You got to go to the middle of the country. And your choice is Oklahoma City or Indianapolis. Oh, my God. Now he's like, get me to Maui. He's already on Maui right now, and he's barefoot playing golf. I mean, that's his life. I don't know if you ever heard him on our show before, but, I mean, he basically gets up, goes and plays golf barefoot with friends, high end, the Willie Nelsons of the world and the Owen Wilsons and everything like that. Then he plays a little bit of poker. I don't know. He said he might. I think he might have said he stopped smoking, even though Nellie Kush, as Smiley Dan says there, he was big into it. I think they did 60 Minutes that did a piece, or maybe it was one of the ESPN things, 30 for 30s or whatever. But I mean, I don't think Nellie's ever looked better. I mean, even then he looked a little bit larger. I mean, he's a tall man, but he looks tall and thin. He looks really good. And I'm sure his doc told, hey man, you're getting into the 80s, bro. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he's not drinking at all. I know he told us when he was on our show, and like I said, he's been on our show a handful of times, probably 10. Yeah, he stopped drinking, like the beer, the scotch, the whole thing. He did that after every game, and he doesn't drink anymore. And I think he said he either quit or cut way down on the weed, too. Cut way down. So anyway, he looks great. But yeah, good news is you win the Lifetime Achievement Award. Bad news is you got to go to Oklahoma City from Maui. It's like, oh, God. Like, what's the nicest? I mean, I don't know. I've never been to Oklahoma City. I've driven through. But it's like, you imagine, what's the nicest hotel here? Because his house in Maui is silly. I mean, just ridiculous. So anyway, that's good news on Nellie. Miles Turner, I don't know if you'd ever thought, you and I have talked about this. I don't know if you ever thought Miles Turner was going to be a member of the Warriors, but he certainly seems like he'd be a great fit. He's been talked about forever to the Warriors. But as you saw Indiana continue to make this run, you thought to yourself, that's not happening. So what do the Warriors need more than anything else? They need size. They need an athletic rim running type of center. It'd be nice if he could be a stretch and shoot threes. Be nice if he could be a defender and block shots. Well, Miles Turner, who's still only 27, and he's been in the league so damn long, he should be 37, but he came in when he was, 18? At one time, he was the youngest player in the league. He's been around forever. And so it would seem like that's a nice fit, unless Indiana, of course, last year they went to the conference finals. This year they go to the NBA finals, tied at 1 game apiece. I think, by the way, we'll get into Oklahoma City in just a second. But so Miles Turner would make a whole lot of sense, except for the fact that if you're Miles Turner, why would you want to come to the Warriors? I don't. And if I'm Indiana, this is the other thing. We never do this as fans. I talk about this all the time. we look at a trade and we think of it one way. Well, Jonathan Kuminga goes to Indiana, they get Miles Turner back. Well, if you're the general manager of the Pacers, you're getting fired for that one because you don't need Jonathan Kuminga. You got Mathurin. You got a number of guys who can play the 2, 3, and 4 if you're Indiana. They're fine. They don't need another guy like that. So Jonathan Kuminga, and we overrate our own players. Indiana, okay, he's going to Indiana. Turner's coming back. That doesn't make sense for Indiana. And that would be the only way you'd get him. Miles Turner's a free agent at the end of the year. Can block shots, can shoot threes, 6'11", give the Warriors some size. It'd be absolutely great. But why would he leave the East? Like, if I'm him, I'm looking at the Western Conference going, Oklahoma City's got the West on lockdown for the next X amount of years. They've got still a ton of first-round picks. They're not going anywhere. And if they're not going to have it on lockdown, then, get in line, right? The Warriors have this 2-year window, and they're like, we can do it. Not if Oklahoma City's in the picture. I doubt it. So Miles Turner is going, well, I'm not going to the West. I've been in the conference finals, the NBA finals the last 2 years. Jason Tatum is out. The Knicks just fired their coach. Cleveland's the only team in our way, and maybe they beat us next year, but we beat them this year. So Miles Turner, he's thinking to himself, I'm not going anywhere. So if you had visions of Miles Turner as a Warrior, here's Shams kind of putting some more water on that.
Then the Pacers know they cannot afford to lose him as a free agent. There's mutual interest in getting a deal done. But in doing so, I'm told the Pacers have determined that they will be entering the luxury tax next season for the first time in 20 years. They want to keep this core intact and give this team a chance to make a real run, not only this season, but the next few seasons to come. And Miles Turner is a big part of that.
All right, so there you go. You get the idea. So if that was one in your mind, that's probably not going to happen. There's a number of guys that they're going to have an opportunity to. You know what I think? I could be 100% wrong on this. I still think they're going to move Kuminga, but I think they're going to do exactly what happened last offseason, which is they flirted with Markkanen, they flirted with a number of players, Paul George, all this kind of stuff. They came up with nothing. I think what's going to happen is they're going to flirt with all these bigs, and then former Stanford big man, now with formerly of the Milwaukee Bucks, Brook Lopez, is all of a sudden going to be a Warrior. And he can shoot it, and he can block some shots and everything, and he would fit right in. What's he, like 38 probably by now? Whatever he is. I'm not saying that would be the worst signing ever. It's just that I would swing bigger for the fences. And the Kuminga story, people keep coming to me on this, and I know how difficult it is. I can't remember who wrote about it, the finances of the whole thing. It's not going to be easy to move him. I think Brooklyn is one of the teams that has some money, and I don't know what they think of Jonathan Kuminga. Cam Johnson's name's been brought up, but they need size. And it's not going to be, my point in bringing up Kuminga is it's not going to be just about the Warriors saying, okay, here's this, and then you sign that, and you can be a restricted free agent. I think it's a 7.9 million, and then he's a restricted free agent, and then next year he's an unrestricted free agent. This is more about, like we talk about this all the time, the power of the player, especially in the NBA. Jonathan Kuminga doesn't want to sit on the bench again to hear Steve Kerr tell him, we're going to give you another chance. He's thinking to himself, look, I'm in the prime of my career now. I got to play, because is what would drive me crazy. Whether you want to side with Kuminga on this or the Warriors on this. I mean, to me, I don't know how you could have a guy on your bench. And I know what the numbers were and the analytics were and all this kind of stuff. And he doesn't play with Jimmy well, and he doesn't play with Curry well, and he doesn't play with Draymond well. Great. Find a way, because if a guy can come off the bench and give what Kuminga gave them in that Minnesota series after Curry's injury, you got to find a way to get him in the rotation. I don't care what the analytics say. Figure it out. You're big boys. That's why you get the big money. Figure it out. And if I'm Kuminga and I just showed you that, then why the hell am I coming back again so that you can say maybe I get a spot in the rotation? Trade me. And that's where the power of the player comes in the NBA. There is no sport where the players have more power than in the NBA. And if I'm Kuminga, I'm not signing any restricted this, that, or the other. I'm not doing it. Get me to a team in which I can finally go out and say, because he's got questions in his mind, can I be a consistent guy in this league? He doesn't want to sit around another year because they're not going to give him the big money. They need a big. He's the way to a big. You didn't play him until break glass, in case of emergency. If I'm Kuminga, I'm like, you've jerked me around left and right. Now, is he culpable for some of that? 100% he is. But that's not going to be the way that he sees it in his mind. You never gave me a chance, and you want me to again? Just one more time? It's like that's what they said to him this year. I'm sure of it. And he showed at times in December when he was averaging over 20 points a game because of injuries and he was starting that he could do it. Now, do I think that Jonathan Kuminga is a number one player who can lead a team into the future when Steph and Draymond and Jimmy leave? No. I don't. But do I think he's a nice player? He'll make a couple of all-star teams. He'll be a nice player. I don't think he's a true number one guy that's going to lead a team to NBA titles, but I think he could be a nice player. I don't think when you trade him, he's going to turn into Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, but I think he's a nice player. He's the guy that you're going to use to get size in this offseason. I don't think there's any question about it. Now, who that's going to be, Naz Reid's a free agent. Do you like him? He's not much of a defender, but can shoot. There's a couple of other names out there that are going to be, non-sexy, but could be effective. And I don't think they just need one. Like, in other words, if they picked up Brook Lopez, I still think they need another one. It's just the way it is. Yeah, Antonio Nelly looked awesome this weekend, by the way. He just looked incredible. Yeah, it looked incredible. So anyway, there's my thoughts. As far as that goes, that took Nelly into the Turner report. One quick note on the 49ers. We have plenty of time to do this. I'll give you about 10 minutes to get ready for Paulie, who comes up at 11 o'clock, Paulie Mack on the Bay Area Sports Collective. As far as Jair Alexander is concerned, he got released today by the Packers. And right away, right here on YouTube, John Lund Unleashed, and on X, where people are watching today, at John Lund Radio, and thank you for doing that. If you'd migrate over to John Lund Unleashed, that would be tremendous. But right away, hit me up with, would you sign Jair Alexander? Because I've been, blah, 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 about the 49ers needing an adult in the room in the secondary. You got Demo Lenore, who's probably going to stay on the outside if Upton Stout, their third-round pick, who's 5'8", 181, and that's great that he's feisty and all those things, but he can't play outside corner at that size. So Diamondor Lenore, who I think is better as a slot than an outside guy, but he's good at both, is going to be forced to the outside, and you're going to have, Upton Stout in the slot, and you're going to have Renardo Green in his second year out of Florida State with a ton of pressure on him on the other side, and then you've got injuries to both of your safeties, so I think they need a safety. There's no doubt. But would it be not the worst idea in the world if there was a corner to get a corner? I don't trust Trey Brown. They got him from Seattle, and he's hurt a lot. So Jair Alexander, who's been great in this league, not a bad idea, right? Except for this. In the last 68 games, he's played 34. I'm no mathematician, but let me do this real quick. That's half. He's played in half of the games over the last 4 years. Half. The best ability, say it with me, is availability. He does not have that. So while name-wise, Jair Alexander, wow, what a great name, right? Oh my God, get Jair Alexander in that secondary, and then you can put Diamondor Lenore can move into the slot, and Upton Stout can be taken slow. I'm not really sure. He's coming from a smaller program. You can't just say, okay, he's going to be our slot. Slot corner is maybe the toughest position to play defensively. They're going to put size in there. They might put quickness in there. They might, you never know which way they're going. Like, slot corner is not easy to play. And so you're telling me you're going to put a kid in there from a smaller college program, and he's just going to be great from the get-go. I get it, man. He's feisty, and they say lots of great things and all these. That's great, man. That's great. But to think that you're going to come in and play that position, which may be the most difficult defensive position to play, the slot corner, especially in this division where they might throw Smith and Jigba at you in Seattle. They might throw Cooper Kupp at you in Seattle. They might throw Puka Nacua at you in the slot for the Rams. I mean, that's not going to be an easy position to play. And I don't trust a third rounder to do it no matter how much hype's around him. So yeah, would I like to have Jair Alexander on the outside and then move Demo into the slot? Are you better than Demo on the outside and Upton Stout in the slot? You are. But the problem for the 49ers, and I'm not guaranteeing anything, maybe it happens, but you know what the 49ers did this offseason. And if you look at the numbers, here's another thing I wanted to kind of go up on a little bit. I don't have the numbers. I'll pop them up tomorrow. The 49ers have almost $40 million in cap space right now. But no, they signed Brock Purdy. They're never going to have any money. They know what they're doing. If they wanted to sign a veteran, which I think they're going to at the safety position because of the injuries, and whether that's Justin Simmons, whether that's Julian Blackmon, whomever shakes free, whatever. Corner's a need. There's no question. Just veteran leadership in the secondary in general. But one of the reasons they let Debo go, ineffectiveness, but he had been injured too. Talanoa Hufanga, injuries. Like they're not going to do that anymore. Javon Hargrave didn't fit, but he had injuries. Like this offseason when everybody was freaking out, screaming and yelling, and why are they letting all these guys go? Well, Hargrave was hurt, and Hufanga was hurt, and Debo was hurt too much, and effectiveness. I read a story over the weekend where there was like a rookie corner locking him up, and I tweeted out, and I said, that's not that difficult to do if you've been paying attention. So, it's ineffectiveness. They played their best football, and there was injuries as well. So everyone wanted my opinion on it. I don't see it. Great name value, but this is exactly what they just got rid of. Javon Hargrave, great name. Talanoa Hufanga, great name. Deebo Samuel, great name. How's their effectiveness on the field? Not very good. Veteran guys who had played their best football who were too injury prone and overpaid. That's Jair Alexander, who's only over the last 4 years played in half the games he could have played in, 34 of 68. So I'm no mathematician. That's half the games. That's 4 years. That's half of those games that he's been available to play. 49ers, I doubt, would be interested unless it was an extremely, extremely team-friendly deal. So that's what I mean. I just don't see it. I do not see it. So there's my thoughts on that. Random things throughout the show today, because I do have a really good, sweet, clean, family-friendly caboose pistol. It's 44 past the hour. So I do want to play that before we get out of here because it's pretty hilarious, and it's going to spur conversation. So let me just double-check on everything here. Okay, we're good. Okay, yeah, we're good. All right, let me play this for you. Let me get the sweet, clean, family-friendly caboose pistol music for you. The sweet, clean, family-friendly, fancy caboose pistol open for you, and then we shall discuss. Where's it at? There it is. All right, let's do it. Let's caboose.
John Lund Unleashed presents the caboose pistol.
Wedged in the crack of her buttocks.
Somehow, someway, Lundo thinks this is the best way to leave a final impression on you for the day.
The old caboose pistol, everybody has one.
Did you say caboose pistol?
I know some women who could hide a machine gun in there.
Yeah.
Leave me out of this, you weirdo. Here's John.
All right, this will spur debate. My wife and I have this conversation a million times. Crying baby on the plane. So I think it's some Barstool guy. I don't know who he is, but he keeps making videos of this baby crying and thinks that maybe the parents should do something. He probably does not have children, but let me play this and then we'll discuss. This is baby crying from some dude on Barstool. Oh, sorry. I could have done a better job of this. You get the idea. I don't know how long I could put up with that, and probably people would leave if I kept running it. There were like 2 other clips like that, but basically what happened was this dude was on a plane, baby cried the entire time, and I don't know if you could see it, but underneath he's like, could they do this? Could they try that? Walk them up and down the aisle, do this and that. I think most people, I could be 100% wrong, you tell me this. When you have a child, and this only happened to me once, and I got to be honest with you, George was a really chill baby. Like, he didn't cry a lot. He didn't freak out, even on planes. And remember, when we had him, and we were from the West Coast, but we had him in Pittsburgh. We lived in Detroit. So we did a lot of traveling back and forth with George when he was really, really, really young. And I don't remember him ever losing it or screaming or crying. I was doing a lot of drinking in those days, but I don't remember him being really, really bad because that's just his demeanor was different, right? So anyway, point being is that I don't know that this guy has ever had a kid because I don't know what it is. I can shut kids off when I'm on a plane. In other words, if there's a crying kid or this and that, you got headphones or, earbuds or something like that. You watch a movie. I don't know. Even if the kid's crying and I can still hear him through the earbuds, it just doesn't bother me. And, attitude is everything because I just know like the family's trying and they're horrified more than anybody else. Like if you have a kid that is crying, it's not like he didn't cry ever, George. You have a kid that's crying on a plane, you know how annoying it is for other people. You know that they're looking back at you like, come on, man, control the kid. But we all know people who have had kids before, we all know that it's like they're doing everything they can. They're not like, smacking the kid upside the back of the head going, cry some more, cry. So they're not trying to make it happen. They're like, we're trying our best not to make it happen. Now, what his point was on the plane was they weren't doing anything. And they just thought, well, we're just gonna let the kid cry. Well, they were probably doing something, but at some point you're just like, I don't know what else to do. And you're frustrated as much as anybody else is frustrated. Everybody knows. Like, nobody really gets mad. Now, if there's someone on the plane that's being obnoxious, then that's a different story. I'll give you a great thing. This isn't related to the plane, but this happened yesterday with us. So we just had breakfast or lunch. It's called brunch. And we're leaving this place. And there's a guy who had pulled up his car, backed in. I don't know, he's waiting for a friend. Something rolls down both his windows and is blaring music. Now, look, I'm not an old guy, but I look at the two people who are sitting where we were sitting. They're sitting like a table next to ours. And they're an older couple, probably in their 80s. And they're just trying to have a little lunch. You know, they had a couple of salads in front of them. They're chilling out. And this so it's like you walk up to the guy and you're like, hey, man, like, could you have just a tiny bit of respect? I mean, these people right here just, you know, having a little lunch, older couple. Could you just roll up your windows a little bit? And, of course, I get nothing happened. And, you know, I just, you know, I wasn't getting into a fight over it, but it was like, here are these people, and you could just tell they're kind of looking over, and it's like, come on, man, tiny bit of respect. So that's all I'm saying on an airplane. There's nothing you can do about a crying kid. And I'm not going to get angry about a crying kid. Everybody's been through it that has had a kid. And even if you haven't had a kid, you know. It's like, look, they're trying. They're not trying to make the baby like. And there are certain things that get to me as a person like that I don't know why they just irritate me. Versus like being on a plane, you would think a baby crying would irritate me or irritate you. I don't know. I just tune it out. Whether it be headphones or whatever, even if I can hear the thing a little bit, it doesn't bother me because I know they're trying. Versus somebody who's just being obnoxious on a plane that's like hitting the back of your seat or, you know, just being generally obnoxious. That's different. That becomes bothersome. But that, you know, anyway, there you go. What else do we have today? Is that it? I wonder if I'm popping in and out because people are saying that they're releasing Jair Alexander, and I just went over a whole Jair Alexander thing. So are we popping out again? Let's see. Yeah, I might be. I'm gonna have to double check this whole thing because I'm not getting. I could be getting not getting the response. I might have popped out again. I have no idea. We'll have to check this whole thing out. Are people still hearing me? Let me see. Let me just ask. People still hearing me, or am I popped out again? I could be. Let's see. Who knows? Yeah, I might be out again. I have no idea. There is Fuji right there asking if we are doing a bottom of the pint this Friday. No doubt. Dodgers, Giants, 100%. 100%. I haven't even talked to Krug about it, and it's Monday morning, but 100%. 100% we are doing a bottom of the pint. No question. Let me make sure we can hear it. We can hear it. Let me just pop in real quick. Hang on. 100%. Yeah, it's working. Okay. All right, just checking. Yeah, Fuji, absolutely, man. We will do 100% a let's see. Go back further. These have been okay. They can't. Okay, you can't hear me. Okay, good. Yeah, we 100% will do a bottom of the pint for the Dodgers Giants. No question about it. Unless Krug's got something that I don't know about, but I don't know. No, absolutely. We got to do Dodgers Giants. No question. 100%. Thank you, Fuji. Remember, if you want to get a super on the show, all you got to do is hit me up on the supers. And if you got any questions or comments, hit me up under the show today. I know we had some technical issues. We'll get those fixed, and I apologize for that, but we got to get out of here because Polly Mac and Creative Tony are here, and they're going to do a show at 11 o'clock on the Bay Area Sports Collective. Please make sure that you're subscribed on John Lund Unleashed. Please give us a like before you get out of here today as well. That helps the algorithm. Also, make sure you have your alerts on because we got 4 or 5 things that we got to post up today, and we want to make sure that you are getting those. And remember, if you're a Lund loyalist, you get those before anybody else. So we appreciate that as well. What else do we have today? Thanks for watching on X, Instagram. Thanks for watching on the Bay Area Sports Collective. Please make sure you subscribe there for all the shows, including this show. Also, for Polly Mac, who's on at 11 o'clock, Tom Tolbert, Jeremy Affelt, the great Amy G, all of those, John Lund Unleashed, and the Bay Area Sports Collective. Make sure you are subscribed on both of those channels. We'll have more stuff coming out later today, so make sure that you hit us up, and then we'll see you tomorrow on the show as well. But make sure those alerts are on. Harry Johnson, it is great to see you, my friend. I'm glad you have sobered up for this one for this Monday. It is awesome to see you. You are the best. Lund heads, thank you so much. And Lund loyalists, we appreciate it. Make sure that you stay around for Polymac and Party and Polymac's Particles. Yeah, there must be something going on today because, like I said, I definitely had things going today, so we might have had something like that. So sorry if we had some technical difficulties. We will make sure that we make those up to you a little bit later on today. Everybody have a tremendous Monday. Polymac's Particles, Polymac and Creative Tony, they're coming up at 11 o'clock, so I'll give you about, we'll give you about 7 minutes to go grab a drink, sandwich, whatever it is, relieve yourselves, and then they'll be back at 11 o'clock. We'll see you tomorrow at 9 o'clock on the show, and we'll make sure that we don't have our technical difficulties going on. Everybody have a tremendous, tremendous Monday.
Thanks for hanging out with John Lund Unleashed. We'll try to be better next time, though I wouldn't hold my breath. Please like and subscribe on the John Lund Unleashed Pod YouTube channel. Watch live shows weekdays at 8 a.m. on YouTube, Instagram, and X. And make sure to have your alerts on for shows throughout the day or night. All things Lund can be found at johnlundunleashed.com. johnlundunleashed.com.
Goodbye!